The AI Whistleblower. His masterpiece exposed a global forgery ring. They tried to silence him. Imagine an AI-generated masterpiece so profound, it didn't just stun the art world, but inadvertently became the key to unlocking a massive global forgery ring. This isn't science fiction. It's the mind-bending true story of how hidden digital markers within a famous artist's artwork expose a conspiracy that will redefine how we look at art forever. The ghost in the machine. The rain against the studio window was the only sound in the world. For Elias Thorne, the night was a canvas, and the glow of his monitors was the only paint. At 2:17 a.m., in the heart of Toronto autumn, he was deep in a labyrinth of his own creation, a neural network named Aletheia, after the Greek spirit of truth. Elias was not a man of galleries and champagne openings. He was an architect of digital realities, a former MIT prodigy who saw art not as a mystery, but as a dataset. His company, Authentei, was born from a wound that never healed. The memory of his grandmother, an Ojibwe artist, weeping over a catalog of fakes that had stolen her legacy and her livelihood. They didn't just steal my art, Gnosticism, she had told him, her hand trembling in his. They stole my voice. Tonight, he was stress-testing Aletheia's generative capabilities. The prompt was simple, a routine test. Generate a painting in the style of Norval Morisot, depicting the Thunderbird spirit under a stormy sky. The AI processed for a few seconds, its fans whirring softly. Then the image rendered. Elias froze, his coffee halfway to his lips. It was breathtaking. The classic X-ray style, the vibrant, almost electric lines of power radiating from the mythic creature. But it was more than a pastiche. It felt known, the specific curvature of a line, the way the cerulean blue bled into the crimson at the edge of form. It was a signature he recognized. With a growing sense of dread, he pulled up an auction database. There it was, the Stormbringer, attributed to Morisot, set for a private sale in Geneva with an asking price of $750,000. The image from the auction listing was a near-perfect match to Aletheia's output. This is an inspiration, he thought, his blood running cold. This is replication. He commanded Aletheia to analyze both images, the generated one and the auction photo. The AI's response was a cold splash of water. Asterisk, asterisk analysis complete. Asterisk, asterisk. Stylistic coherence, asterisk 99.8%. Anomaly detection, asterisk brushstroke pattern variance below human executable threshold. Pigment spectral analysis, asterisk inconsistencies detected. Synthetic ultramarine blue identified. Anachronistic for claimed 1970s origin. Conclusion, asterisk high probability of non-human. Algorithmic origin for both source images. Elias leaned back, his heart hammering against his ribs. The forgers weren't just copying Morisot. They were using an AI model, likely trained on a stolen or illicitly scanned dataset of his work, to generate new Morisots from whole cloth. They were ghost painting using a digital medium. He had Aletheia perform a deeper, more dangerous operation, a reverse prompt engineering attack. He fed it the auction image and asked it to deconstruct the likely commands used to create it. The AI returned a string of text that was not a simple description. It was a complex, layered prompt filled with technical artistic jargon and, chillingly, a unique model seed identifier. Model underneath, Cadmus_7B, Cadmus. The name meant nothing to him, but it was a start. He had found a single thread in a vast, dark tapestry. He had no idea that pulling on it would unravel his entire life. The web of lies. The following weeks were a descent into a digital underworld. Elias became a ghost in the machine, a hunter stalking his prey, to the pristine corridors of online auction houses and the murky back alleys of the dark web. Using Aletheia, he built a web scraper that hunted for the Cadmus signature, the subtle, algorithmic fingerprints his AI could now recognize. He found them everywhere. Dozens of newly discovered Morisots, a lost Frida Kahlo sketch, a series of early Jean-Michel Basquiat works that no scholar had ever documented. The scale was staggering. This wasn't a lone forge in a garage. This was an industrial operation. Aletheia correlated the sales to a network of shell companies and galleries. with a nexus pointing to a man named Victor Russo, a Milan-based dealer with a reputation for finding lost treasures. Interpol had him on a watch list for years, but nothing ever stuck. He was a ghost, protected by layers of legal obfuscation, and Elias suspected something far more dangerous. He compiled his evidence, a digital dossier of impossible art, and sent it through encrypted channels to the RCMP's Art Crime Unit. The response was a polite, automated acknowledgement. Days turned into a week. Silence. Frustrated and feeling the walls closing in, he made his first mistake. He reached out to someone he thought he could trust. Dr. Eris Thorne, his own cousin, a charismatic art historian at the University of Toronto. Over a private, encrypted call, Elias shared his discovery. Eris, this is it. This is what Grandma was fighting against. But on a global scale, they're using AI. Eris was silent for a long moment. Elias, this is incredible. And terrifying. The implications. Send me what you have. I have contacts at the Getty, people who can apply real pressure. A sliver of hope. Elias sent a carefully redacted portion of the data. The threats began 48 hours later. It started with a sophisticated spear phishing attack, a fake security alert from his building's management that bypassed his primary defenses. Then a late-night hang-up call, followed by a text message to his private number, a number only a handful of people had. Stop painting over the truth, Mr. Thorne. Some canvases are meant to stay blank. Paranoia, cold and sharp, took root. He looked at his colleagues, his friends, with new eyes. Who had he told? Who had Eris told? He confronted his cousin. Eris, did you talk to anyone? About my research? A slight hesitation, a flicker in the eye that Elias, the human lie detector, caught instantly. Just a trusted colleague, Elias. I needed a second opinion. For your own protection. It was a betrayal that cut deeper than any threat from the shadows. His own blood had sold him out. The hunter becomes the hunted. The world tightened around him like a vice. A conference in New York, where he was to present a sanitized version of his findings, became a trap. He arrived at his hotel to find the door to his room ajar. Inside, it was a scene of calculated violation. His laptop was gone. His notes, meticulously printed, were not just stolen, but meticulously shredded into confetti, a message. They weren't just hiding evidence. They were mocking his efforts. But they had underestimated him. Elias never traveled with the true core of his work. It lived in an encrypted, distributed cloud vault, accessible only through a multi-key process that involved his biometrics and a physical token he kept on his person. From a payphone, a relic he now saw as a vital tool, he called the only person he had left. Lena Vasquez, a former intelligence analyst turned cybersecurity consultant he had worked with years ago. Lena, it's Elias. I'm in trouble. The deep kind. Her voice was calm, a lifeline in the storm. Location. Now. He fled to a safe house she arranged, a nondescript apartment in Queens that smelled of dust and old memories. There, with Lena's remote guidance, he went on the offensive. It was time to stop being the prey and become the predator. Using Alethea, he crafted a digital honeypot. He created a fake online persona, Artemis, a wealthy, naive collector from Dubai, interested in rare and undiscovered Morissos. He seeded the dark web with inquiries, his AI generating flawless, enticing prompts to draw out the forgers. The bait was taken. He was contacted by a user named Deadless. The conversation was a delicate dance of coded language and verified credentials. Deadless offered a piece, The Spirit Dancer, with a provenance as fake as the art itself. But through the transaction, Alethea traced the digital footprints not to Milan, but to a server farm in Riga, Latvia. This was the Cadmus hub. In a moment of reckless brilliance, Elias executed his masterstroke. He didn't just try to hack the server. He used Alethea to perform a model poisoning attack. He fed the Cadmus AI a series of corrupted, paradoxical prompts designed to introduce a fatal flaw into its algorithm, a digital cancer. Generate Morisot of a wolf, where the wolf is both howling and silent. Its fur made of fire and ice, in the style of a Renaissance fresco. The conflicting commands would force the model to generate images with bizarre, consistent artifacts, a specific, recurring visual glitch that Alethea could then scan for across the entire internet. It was a beacon, a kill switch made of light and code, the reckoning of code and canvas. The fallout was immediate and chaotic. On art forums, people began posting strange Morrissos they had acquired, all featuring a peculiar, shimmering distortion in the lower left corner, the Thorn anomaly, as it would later be known. The market, built on confidence, began to panic. Elias knew it was time. From the safe house, he recorded his whistleblower video. He didn't hide. He stared directly into the camera, the weight of his grandmother's memory giving him a terrifying calm. My name is Elias Thorn. What you are about to see is the story of how a $200 million lie was sold to the world. He laid it all out. The AI forgeries, the Cadmus network, Victor Russo, the threats, the corporate and academic complicity. He released a full, unredacted dossier. The video went supernova. The same day it hit 1 million views. Interpol and the FBI launched coordinated raids in Milan, Riga, and a warehouse in Montreal. They found rows of high-end printers applying AI-generated images to canvas, chemical baths artificially aging them, and a small army of artisans adding master's touches to full basic inspection. Victor Russo was arrested trying to board a private jet to a country with no extradition. In the aftermath, Elias sat in a sterile government office, giving his final deposition. He was a hero, but he felt like a ghost. His company was in shambles, his trust in people shattered. Eris had resigned in disgrace, his career over. He received one final message, routed through layers of encryption Lena had set up. It was from a block number. A masterpiece can be repainted. An artist's hands, however, can be broken. We have long memories, Thorn. The victory was real. The forgeries were exposed. The market was adopting the Alethea protocol for authentication, but the cost was eternal vigilance. Elias Thorn had saved the past from thieves, but in doing so, he had sacrificed his own future to the shadows. He now lives in an undisclosed location under a new name. He still works with AI, but his focus has changed. He no longer just hunts forgeries. He builds fortresses around the truth, ensuring that the soul of art, the story and the stroke, can never be so easily stolen again. The lesson of his story is not that technology is a threat to art, but that it is its newest, most fragile canvas. And in the digital age, the most important masterpiece is the truth itself. Closing text on screen. The Cadmus ring was dismantled, leading to 14 convictions. Over 3,000 forged artworks, with a claim value of over $250 million, were seized. Elias Thorn's Alethea protocol is now an industry standard for major auction houses. He continues his work as a leading voice in ethical AI development. In the war between truth and deception, the new battlefield is made of code. Stay vigilant. This is the digital detective. Title Asterisk, the AI whistleblower. His masterpiece exposed a global forgery ring. They tried to silence him. Description Asterisk. In a silent Toronto studio, an AI engineer typed a single line of code. The image that appeared on his screen was a perfect replica of $1 million masterpiece. It was also impossible. This digital ghost would pull him into a labyrinth of high-stakes international crime, where the art on the wall was a lie and the artists were algorithms. Hunted by a shadowy syndicate and betrayed by those he trusted, he would use the very technology that created the forgeries to wage a one-man war for the soul of art itself. This is a true story of how a digital detective used code to expose a conspiracy of paint and pixels. Magnifying glass still to the left in this video, we explore Asterisk, the terrifying sophistication of AI-generated art forgeries, the digital forensics of prompt artifacts and algorithmic fingerprints, how organized crime has infiltrated the high-stakes art world, the ethical tightrope of using AI for both creation and deception. If you have a story that needs to be investigated, leave a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to become a part of the Digital Detective team. Digital Detective presents stories to educate, inspire critical thinking, and highlight the power of technology in uncovering truth. Always verify facts and report wrongdoing through official channels. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Thank you.